Good afternoon, everyone. It's 3 p.m. on Tuesday, May 27th. And welcome, everyone. I would like people to put in the chat where they're coming from. If they are in the United States or anywhere else in the world. And today we're going to be talking to Diane Ladd. Always get a chuckle about the name because of the famous actress with the same
That's
name, which has given you a problem trying to get email accounts and YouTube, right?
That's right. That's right. And people
But
confuse me and they call me Cheryl a lot, but no relation. No relation.
all righty. So we have Terry Sue from Central California, Tommy from Temple, Georgia. We do have more than a couple of people here, but tell me where you're coming from, where you are in this world. And we're going to start talking to Diane about her and what she has gone through. So, Diane, I'm going to let you go ahead and start. Tell me who you are, a little bit about you, your background, and what you have gone through regarding multiple sclerosis and how you have come to improve, resolve, reverse, whatever you want to call it, your problems with multiple sclerosis, which is supposed to be a progressive, ever worsening chronic disease that has no cure.
Exactly. Exactly. So, just a little bit of background about me. I am from Boston, just outside of Boston, and I am a mental.
Where exactly in Boston?
I am about 20 minutes north of Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm a mental health therapist, and I've been working with people with all types of mental health issues, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, and the gamut. Um, I went back to school as an adult and went to Boston College here in Boston, and I graduated with my degree in social work. So I've been doing that for years. So really soon after I did that, it was 2016, I started getting symptoms of MS. I didn't know it was MS at that time in 2014 when I graduated, but in 2016, I was diagnosed with MS. And I have such
What
compassion.
symptoms what symptoms were you getting that now looking back you realize this is related to the or was related to the MS?
Right, right. The first symptom I was getting was very troubling because I love to talk and I love to talk with people, and it affected my speech. So it I could speak, but right at the beginning, right when someone asked me a question, like if you go to the doctors and they say, "What is your name and your date of birth?" Right then and there, I would have like this slur. I would have to delay it for a minute and it would slur. It felt as though my tongue and my lips were numb, like I'd been frostbitten, and it would take a minute for me to respond. Um, and it wouldn't come out too smoothly. So that was troubling in itself. And that started probably in the beginning of 2014. And I went to doctors about it and they were like, well, we don't see it, because after I'd been talking for a while, it was fine. So they said, we don't see it. So in fact, my husband came with me and they said, do you see this? And he's like, yes, I see it. So that was the first. And then I started getting like this dizziness, this vertigo type symptom where I would be not balancing very well. The room would start spinning, and that got worse and worse to where it started affecting my, I would be nauseous with that. So those two symptoms were at the beginning. And another symptom started coming on, which was a visual thing. And I was starting to see double. And I think my balance issues were very, very much related to my vision, because it was eventually a neurologic ophthalmologist that diagnosed my MS after much testing, a lot of different things, spinal taps, a lot of really painful things sometimes. I was sticking needles in my legs and nerve conduction tests and all of that. And they all came back fine, good, normal, until the eye doctor. Oh, and I did have lesions on my brain, which they were like, well, let's watch that. Let's get another MRI in 8 months or so. And I did. And they were like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think you have it. But it was the eye doctor that finally diagnosed me. So,
It can become quite a challenge to diagnose multiple sclerosis because there is not exactly one set of criteria. It's a
right.
multiple things
Right.
that you take into account. But go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, this happened, like I said, February of 2016, and at that time, I was on my way developing my own practice, getting certified, all of it, and I just went straight ahead until I couldn't anymore, and that was the defining moment. Was 2022. I was um, I was working online because we had gone through that season of where we can't meet people in person. So I'd been working online for a couple of years at that time. And my fatigue became so bad, Dr. Nelson, that by the end of the day, I was toast. I could not talk to another person. And this had been happening gradually for about a year or so. But the brain fog combined with the fatigue were just so strong that I was having difficulty listening to people. I was having difficulty talking to people. And that's what I did. I listened to people and I talked to people. That was my job. So I felt at the time that before I wasn't any good to people anymore, that I would take a sabbatical, I would step back, which when you're a mental health therapist isn't easy because you can't just leave people in the lurch. You've got to find a therapist for that person. So a lot of my work from that point on was looking for colleagues. Can you take 2 clients? Can you take 1 client? Finding out if the client needed people. I had an office that I had to get someone in there to pay the rent and then eventually, you know, turn it over to somebody. So there was a lot of behind the scenes work that was a lot harder than the work that I did that I had to go through in order to take some time off. So that was very difficult. Um, so 2022, the end of 2022, I was home. I was home trying to recuperate. I was home trying to make myself feel better. And it wasn't until a year later that I started hearing about the carnivore diet. And I had been on several different diets for MS, all of which helped a little bit. Had been on keto, and yeah, that helped a little bit. It didn't make me feel like I do today. And it wasn't until the fall of 2023 that I began hearing about this. And and by the first of the year, I was on YouTube. I was watching everything on YouTube about the carnivore diet. And it wasn't until March 5th, 2024, I decided that I was going to do this thing. And when I made the decision to do this thing, it was all in. It was 2 feet in, jump in the pool in the deep end, eat the meat, and let's see how it goes. And 3 weeks later, Dr. Nelson, the brain fog started going away. The fatigue started lifting. And I'm telling you, I was so amazed because like I said, I had been doing a couple of things, a couple of diets where made you feel a little better, but gosh, not like this. This was just incredible. So I've been doing it ever since. So it's been about a year and 2 months now. So 14 months around the carnivore diet. And the gifts, the carnivore gifts keep on giving, you know? So the brain fog, the fatigue, it was an initial wow. But then as time went on, it was like, gosh, I'm feeling even better. I'm feeling even better. And it just kept on going. So I also had things like urinary incontinence. I was given Botox shots into my bladder. I was having a very difficult time with that. And it I didn't even notice it went away. It was just one day I'm like, huh, yeah, I guess this thing's gone. It's like if you're not paying attention to it, so many symptoms. If you're not paying attention to it and you're not looking for that one symptom, there comes a time where it's like, yeah, that's gone.
Yeah.
There was another symptom where if I went from a lying down position to a sitting up position, I would get this dizziness, but it came with nausea. Like if I went to go pick up something, I dropped it on the floor. It was horrendous. So I was doing yoga. I had to stop yoga. One day, I don't even know when it disappeared because one day must have been July-ish. I was at the gym and I started doing sit-ups at the gym. And I was like, wow, these feel pretty good in my head. Why don't I do these? And I went, oh, I couldn't do them because I couldn't go from a lying down position to a sitting up position without feeling super sick. So that went away. Trying to think of other symptoms. I mean, today I am nearly 100% free of every single symptom that I had with MS. And I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis March of, when was it? 2023. So that was my second autoimmune disease. And then my third autoimmune disease almost was ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. They weren't sure. And
Some kind of inflammation in your.
something going on.
Yeah.
And what happened was right at that time where they were testing me, that's when I went on the carnivore diet. 6 weeks later, oh, no sign of it. Gone. I'm not even diagnosed yet.
So it is a common thing, actually. Well, a couple of comments in my experience. Multiple sclerosis was not something that would be often in my radar. I did have, during my residency, one of the nurses that worked with us did have multiple sclerosis, but it was kind of rare that I would come across patients with multiple sclerosis. Nowadays seems to be more frequent. So the frequency has changed. Also, when you have one autoimmune disease, you are more likely going to be having a second or third or fourth or fifth diagnosis that it's an autoimmune. So if you think about it, it might be just the same problem. You're developing inflammation due to, in this case, most likely something you were consuming. And then you have different manifestations of that inflammation, whether it's multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, or irritable bowel syndrome, or inflammatory bowel disease. I don't know if you were on this morning on our live, but we had someone with Parkinson's,
Right.
neurodegenerative
Right.
problem as well. And she also mentioned that she had to get Botox injections for bladder
I did see that.
problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it affects, it's up here, it's the brain, but it's the command center of our system, right? So it can affect many things. So fatigue, feeling weak,
Yep.
dizziness, trouble concentrating. Obviously, if you're doing therapy with someone, you need to concentrate, focusing what you're hearing, and then be able to respond appropriately. and all those symptoms. Now, you were having also at some point problems ambulating.
I was beginning to, Dr. Nelson. So it was in the back of my head. Really soon, I'm going to need a cane. Really soon, because I'm not as steady as I was. I'm not feeling as strong. I had a bout of having a kidney stone, which really left me weak. I was hospitalized for that, and just it seemed like it was things were happening. Things were happening. And I like what you said about the different autoimmune diseases and how they stem from the same problem. The way I think about it is a tree with roots, and then you've got your roots. So the root cause of all autoimmune diseases and many other diseases that are diseases of the modern time starts at the roots. And then you've got the trunk that comes up, and then you've got branches that come out. And one branch is multiple sclerosis, the other branch is rheumatoid arthritis, the other branch is type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, Parkinson's disease, all these branches that stem out of the tree are all the diagnosed diseases that are plaguing modern man. But if you follow each disease into the trunk, it comes from the roots, right? It's the root cause of what is happening. And how do we mitigate this? I don't want to say cure, because this is not a cure. How do we feel our best? It's the food that we're eating, right? And the other things that we are doing on a daily basis, like getting out in the sunshine, just taking care of your mental health, thinking about thinking, having that time to just sit with yourself, whatever you want to call it, prayer, meditation, contemplation, listening to music, whatever you want to whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. It's just calming the mind so that we're not all crazy and just like putting out fires all day. We're able to sit with ourselves. And I think that's so important.
Very, very important. It's part of what everybody should do regarding their health and mindfulness, pray, meditation, uh, going out in the sun, grounding, trying to promote your sleep the best way.
Oh, yeah.
And that includes several things that are part of routine sleep hygiene, like, you know, getting off the devices an hour or two before bedtime, uh, the lights, there are many things to prepare for sleep that sometimes we don't do, and then we complain we didn't sleep well.
Right. So I wasn't sleeping well, Dr. Nelson, because of the urinary incontinence. So, if you're getting up 4 or 5 times a night, there is just no way to get deep sleep. And this had been going on for years. And on top of that, getting back to sleep after you've woken up like that, it was just kind of snowballing, and just everything was just contributing to um, poor brain health. You know, I'm mental health, yes, is part of that. I mean, in depression and anxiety, and feeling like I've got this disease, I've got this disorder, whatever you want to call it, and the outlook is not really that good. I mean, that alone causes anxiety, and then you've got the symptoms that are disrupting your life. That all causes anxiety. So, being a mental health therapist, I know this, but when you're feeling it yourself, that's a whole different ball of wax. That's a whole different thing. And just trying to find things that help to mitigate it, help to make your life easier and the life of your loved ones easier, because they have to share the life with me. They're the ones that have to take care of me.
So I'm gonna take a few seconds to mention, because someone already, a couple of people have mentioned uh, what we have both coming up next month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Healing Humanity and Dr. Kiltz, we're going to be where, Diane?
We are going to be in Boston, Massachusetts. Yes, at the Copley. And we're going to have a wonderful lunch at the Fuego de Chao. And you're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Dr. Kiltz is going to be there. And Kerry Mann and Adam Lacey. And who else is going to be there? So, Dr. Bosworth, Dr. Annette Bosworth will be there. And Dr. Thomas Seyfried is going to be there. I don't know how many people are very familiar with him. He is doing tons of research with cancer, which is totally amazing. And he is a Boston College professor. So I'm very excited to see him. Who are some of the other people? I don't have a list in front of me right now.
Well, I'm about to show it in a
Okay.
second. Their link is in the description, by the way. If you go to the link, you have the link to sign up for the Kiltz Mighty Tribe. If you're not a member, please sign up. It's free. And then there's a link for the Kiltz meetups. KiltzMeetup.com is the page. Let me see. So you can go there and see the information about. Oh, here it is. I missed it. Okay.
You get it?
So, can you see it?
Not yet.
Oh, not yet. That's because I have to do this.
There it is.
All right. So you see Dr. Kiltz, Dr. Seyfried, Dr. Lisa Wiederman, right smack in the center. Diane Ladd, Kerry Mann, Adam Lacey, Dr. Boss, and that picture is not updated because my face is not there. But
oh my goodness, there's Dr. Heather Stone too. We can't forget her.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh wow. That if you have not been to a meetup, especially a Dr. Kiltz Healing Humanity meetup, get there. If you're going to be anywhere around Boston on June 28th, get there because you will not regret it. You will regret not being there, but you will never regret being there. So I went to my first meetup back last fall. And I had been listening to Homestead How, learning about Healing Humanity, watching all the players, everyone that's going to be there in Boston. I have watched their YouTube channel. And that's how, you all are my friends. I would get up in the morning, I would click on YouTube, and I would get my daily shot in the arm motivation from all these people and also learn so many amazing, amazing things about metabolism. I'm kind of a science nerd, so I really, really enjoyed it. And that gave me the motivation to keep going, to keep living, because I wasn't living prior to this. I was feeling sicker and sicker and sicker every day. So these people that were my friends, every day in my living room. So I heard about, Carrie Mann talked about Healing Humanity. He was doing a meetup in his wonderful theater, the world famous Montello Theater. And
it's always he always has to mention the world famous.
And I will vouch for that, because you know what I did? I booked a plane ticket, bought a ticket, said, that's it, I'm going. I have to see with my own two eyes what is going on here, because I was getting a good feeling from watching you all, on the TV. I was getting, like this is working and this is happening. But I have to see these people in person. I have to see what is going on in this world, right? that everything that I have learned about nutrition is turned on its head, literally. So I did. I booked a ticket. I'm about to go. The week before, and I think you know this story, Dr. Nelson, I ended up with appendicitis. I was in the hospital and I got my appendix out a week before the meetup. So I'm like, all right, I guess it's over with and I'll just have to go another time. And it was my husband who said, I think you can go. You're feeling a lot better. It was like a few days before. He goes, you're feeling so good. You can go. Just pack lightly so you don't have to bring your suitcase. And I did all by myself. I went to Montello, Wisconsin. I rented a car when I got to the airport to Madison, and I went to see these people. So I never regretted it because I walked into the Montello Theater, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's like an old time theater. And I see like all my people walking around setting up. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I see Dr. Kiltz. And he came right up to me, introduced himself, so friendly, so warm. And I got to the point where I was kind of getting embarrassed because he was talking to me and I figured he had stuff to do because he was speaking. And I said, I don't want to take up your time. You must have like a million things to do. And he's like, no, all I have to do is talk to you. And he turns over his shoulder. He goes, Carrie, do I have anything to do? Carrie's like, no, you're good. You're good, Dr. Kiltz. He's like, see?
He you have met him in person.
Yes.
And anybody that has met him in person, when he's talking to you, he's talking to you.
Exactly.
He's concentrating on that conversation, and he will pay attention to you and only you at the moment where he is. He loves to talk, of course. So
and he loves to listen. He is a listener. Like I can see how his patients just love him. And as I looked around and I saw how people like approaching Carrie and like one person after the other, and I could tell he had a lot of stuff going on, he was just as kind as he was with the first person that came up to him as the 15th person that came up to him. And I'm telling you, I got such a good feeling from the people who attended the meetup, the people who were doing the meetup, that every single person that I've met in this carnivore community has been nicer than the last. There hasn't been anyone. And then when I decided to start my YouTube channel, I was, feeling a little like, oh gosh, I'm going to get a lot of negativity from people. There's all this negativity in the world and it's going to be on me if I have something that, I'm doing that's not like the typical, I'm not eating typically.
Who was your first interview?
You know who my first interview was. It was Dr. Nelson. He was the first guy. And, so nice, so kind. And everyone that I have met through my YouTube channel has been the nicest, the kindest, the most encouraging person that I've ever met. And I say that, with all honesty, that the carnivore community has the best people. And I think it's because we're all eating the right food and we're not feeling anxious, angry. We're not feeling all these things that other people are feeling from eating this crap. So we're all like kind of happy people. And I love that.
So we have the link at the bottom in the description, both in my channel and Dr. Kiltz channels. I don't know where you're coming from, each one. I got some people from Facebook here. The link of the meetups or for the meetups in the description. We're going to be in 11 days in Seattle, Washington. So if you're nearby, the big attraction, Dr. Baker is going to be there.
Oh, I wish I could be there.
And Dr. Kiltz is going to be there. Dr. Nelson's going to be there. And we're going to have a bunch of people. think Bella is gonna be there. Not sure.
She's in that area. So
But
go
and
ahead.
then in Boston, that's June 7th and June 28th. We're gonna be in Boston, and I'm looking forward to actually you do. I did mention it to you, but uh, I lived in Boston. Everybody's when you don't live in Boston, everybody say, "Oh, he lives in Boston," even if you're an hour away from Boston.
Right.
I was an hour away from Boston in a little town called Fitchburg, but I lived there for 8 years. Do you know? And I'm a baseball fan. I have never been to Fenway Park.
Are you
So
going to go when you come?
yes,
You
uh,
are.
the following day I'm planning to go to Red Sox game.
That is
Uh,
awesome. Who are they playing?
uh, they're playing. I don't know if it's the Twins or the Blue Jays.
Awesome.
Uh, and I'm a baseball fan. They are not exactly my team, but I love to go and watch baseball. So I'm gonna catch a game on the day after the meetup.
On the
Anyways,
29th.
going back to your story,
Yes.
you haven't mentioned, but you were on medication
Yeah.
for a few years, right? For how many
I was
years?
for many years, for many years. When I was first diagnosed in 2016, so with MS, what they do is there are three levels of medication. So they start you on the least toxic, the most mild medication um, that that they have, right? So there's like tier one, they call it. So when I was first diagnosed, I was put in a medication called Copaxone. And I was on that for, I don't know if it was a year or 2 years, but when you're on the medications, they take blood work because all the medications can ruin your liver. All the medications lower your immune system, but they lower it more and more as you go up. And and they also check your scans, MRIs, to make sure that the medication is solving the problem. So what happened on the Copaxone is I had an MRI that showed that I had a new lesion on my brain. So they said this thing isn't working. We need to go up to tier two. I was on a medication in tier two. I don't remember the name. Um, for a period of time, and I got another lesion on my brain after a year or two, and they said, listen, this one's not working, so we're going to put you up to tier three. I was on tier three probably for, I think it was a couple of years, and it seemed to be working. I was on a medication called Ocrevus. You probably have seen the commercials because they have a lot of commercials now that we really shouldn't have. And very, very strong medication. And it coincided with the start of the pandemic. So it was very upsetting that they lowered my immune system, killed my T cells at the same time that that they wanted the whole world to have an incredible immune system. So they killed mine and said, hey, you need an immune system now. So that was very, very upsetting. I was lucky. I did not have like severe side effects. I did have some. One of the side effects, well, actually, there's two things that can happen with your immune system where you could get pneumonia or you can get chronic UTIs. I got the chronic UTIs.
Yeah,
So,
basically, you have a lower immunity, and any kind of infections
right,
uh, you can get
right.
from simple, I would call it UTI. I
Yep,
know it's bothersome, but it's kind of a simple. Symptoms are very obvious, easy to treat usually, but you can get serious infections
absolutely.
as well. Pneumonia
Yeah,
can be deadly, and you can have osteomyelitis and have to be on antibiotics for a long time and all
right.
that. So
Yeah,
yeah, they can wreak havoc with your immunity because you're trying to shut down the immune system so
exactly.
your disease doesn't progress, but you cannot do it selectively.
No,
You're shutting the whole thing down.
the whole thing. So then they take blood work to make sure that your T cells have disappeared. They, and then when you go back for um, the next infusion, because this is done in a hospital, just a day, you don't have to stay overnight, and you're given this medication for a few hours. So they want to make sure that even when you go back for the next treatment, your immune system is down. It's like zero. So they take that that blood work to make sure that it's
Did you,
there.
we don't have to talk much about this, but did you have to get the injection? This is around 2020, you said, and
Yes,
after.
I had to time that. I had to time that and get it. I think it was like a couple weeks before I got the next infusion, because if I got it after the infusion, um, it wouldn't work, because it wouldn't kick, my immune system would not kick in. So I had to be very diligent to make sure that I got it and timed it exactly right. Um,
And the most important thing is, are you currently on that medication?
Funny you should ask, Dr. Nelson, because I went to my doctor on December. I think it was around the first week in December. And when I went, because I go every 6 months, because I get the treatment every 6 months. So before the treatment, I go to the doctor, and the doctor has this series of it's a clinical exam with a series of like things that she makes me do, kind of like a sobriety test. So I put my hands out to the side, and you touch your nose one at a time. She tests your reflexes, your knees, your elbows, your hands, whatever. She has you do little things with your fingers. And the last thing that I've always hated, it's always been like, oh, because you have to understand, I'm an exerciser. I have always gone to the gym. I lift weights. I've done this my whole entire life. So to go in the hallway and have to walk heel to toe as you're looking ahead, like trying to get your balance
And keep
and
straight.
not only keep straight, but not fall over.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk 3 steps from the time I was diagnosed in 2016 until last December. When she asked me to do that, it was just like I could not, I would be like falling over. Not exactly falling on the ground, but like I couldn't walk heel to toe because my balance wasn't what it should be. Well, I'm happy to report that last December, I passed the whole sobriety test, including heel to toe. I probably did 20 steps all the way across the room. And as she's testing me, as she's doing the clinical exam, she's saying, how have you been feeling? And I was saying, well, doc, I know, like you've kept me so healthy since 2016, the past 9 years. You've kept me so, so, so healthy. And you know your stuff about medications, and you know your stuff about MS. But what you may not know is what I have been doing over the past 10 months. And I would love to tell you about that. I've been following this diet. It's a ketogenic metabolic diet called the carnivore diet. And I know it's kind of a silly name, carnivore, but it's really metabolically healthy. And it's really like the ultimate diet for getting rid of everything else that you might be allergic to or sensitive to. And it's really just eating fatty red meat. I saw her hackles go up a little bit when I said fatty red meat, but I kept on going, and she's watching me, and she's saying she's able to do all this stuff. And she listened to everything I said, and she really heard me. And by the time I walked across the room heel to toe, and she had to go on her computer to see what I did last time because she was a little bit baffled. And she sat there, and I could see her just like sighing a little bit. And she turned to me and she said, "So what do you want to do?" And I was shocked because she had never asked me that question before. I had been going every 6 months for 9 years, and that question was never posed to me. And I answered, "About what?" And she said, "Well, would you like your infusion?" And I said, I want to say I didn't know this was an option, but I didn't want to be too smart. And I said, "So can we maybe delay this for 6 months? I still want to come and see you. But I'd like to maybe delay it 6 months to see how I'm doing." She said, "Yeah, I see no trouble with that." She goes, "You're actually doing really well. And if this exam had been at the beginning of your, you know, it had been in 2016, you would not be on this. She would not be prescribing this for me." So I said, "Yeah." She said, "I'd like you to get the MRI." And so I had an MRI, and she said, "I'd like you to come back in 6 months and we can check it out." And 6 months, I just got the notice, is next week, Dr. Nelson. And I am even better than I was in December. So I am just so looking forward to it. And I'm going to be able to tell people in the meetup. That's what I'm so excited about. I'm going to be able to tell people an update on how my doctor's appointment went. And also go to Boston Carnivore, because I'm going to be posting an update about that too very shortly. So anyway.
So at the moment, you have not any recurrence of any symptoms. You're
No.
feeling good. You've
Yes.
been 14 months carnivore right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I think, of course, I am biased. I admit it. I am
We
biased,
all are.
but it's when you hear the stories of healing, you hear people reversing all kinds of metabolic diseases, diabetes, hypertension, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's. These are not easy things. And I cannot say that 100% of people will get the same result by doing this.
Right. Yeah, I want to make
But
that
this is
clear
but
too.
this is not
Yes.
medication. This is not,
No.
oh, let's try this medicine. All you have done is really, it's a simple thing if you think about it. You change your diet. That's all
Yes.
you did.
Yes. And I did
You
tell my
stop
doctor, I
having
see to say, ask that question. Yes, I told my doctor that I am, and the first time I said it was kind of funny because I was at a restaurant. "I'm a carnivore." My husband said, "You said that you are a carnivore." And I said, "Yes, I am. Not that I'm on the carnivore diet. I am owning that. I am a carnivore." And I will proudly say that. And I told my doctor, the only thing she did say, I think she was a little concerned. She said, um, how is your,
cholesterol. Did they ask about your cholesterol? Probably.
yes. How the question everybody asks, right, Dr. Nelson? How is your cholesterol? I said, "Well, it's a little high." She goes, "The only thing I would like you to do is get a CAC." And I said, "Great, because I want to ask for a CAC. And now if I have you asking for it, she goes, "Go to your PCP." And I did. And I mean, they're so concerned about cholesterol. Do you know when they gave me the appointment? August. They're so concerned about it. It's like an emergency. You have to go on a statin, right? "Yeah, we can fit you in August." I'm like, "All right. I'm not worried about it." Don't worry about it. But yeah, so I mean, that was the only recommendation she had, and to make sure that and honest to goodness, if anyone here is seeing a doctor for an autoimmune disease, for any other disease, Parkinson's disease, anything, do not go off your medication. I am not recommending to go off medication. I think that would be very, very irresponsible of you. Work with your doctor. Whether your doctor wants to work with you or not, work with your doctor. If your doctor won't work with you, get another doctor. But I did not willy-nilly go off my medication because I was a carnivore. I made a decision with my doctor to delay the medication for 6 months and see how I felt.
Yeah, and
And
it truly started. It was your doctor's idea.
it was my doctor's
It
idea. It was
wasn't
not my
you
idea.
going there demanding to be off
Yes.
medication.
Yes.
Hey, you are better, and basically the proof is in the pudding. I've been
Right.
in this, you know, very often I would get patients, oh, doc, I'm doing this, and this might be something that is not conventional, it's not popular, or whatever it is. My answer is, how is it working? Are you achieving the results you're looking for? Because if it's not working, then we need to look at something else.
Mhm.
But very often, yeah, if it's working, keep doing that.
Right.
It doesn't matter what it was, because I would always ask them, is it working?
Right. And in
And
working with my doctor, I had the confidence, and I did ask her this. I said, "So if I should get a new symptom that came up, if I should start feeling worse, what do I do? Can I call you and get in ASAP?" She said, "Yes." She said, "If you get a symptom, call me. You can come in ASAP." And what they do, Dr. Nelson, when you have a new symptom with multiple sclerosis, they put you on a steroid medication IV right away, because they want to stop that the progression of the disease, because it can damage brain cells like right away. It can damage your spinal cord right away. So she said, "Yes, call me. You can come in, get a steroid. Then we'll take an MRI. We'll see if there's anything going on. And if something else is going on, you can go right back on the medication." So I had that insurance that if something was going wrong, I would still have support. It's not like I fired my doctor, and I'm still going to see her June 3rd, and I'm pretty excited about it. But if she sees me every 6 months and we take periodic MRIs, and the MRIs, oh, and I didn't tell you, the MRI was no new disease progression. The
the
when you
spot,
have MS, you have lesions in your brain from old damage. So I still had little spots that was from before.
but no new ones.
No new ones, so no new disease. And I am pretty confident, because I've heard that this has happened to people, that as I go forward, there's a possibility that I'm going to be healing those old lesions.
Well, I've already heard stories of people. This 2 weeks ago, we were at Meatstock. There are a couple of people that I think you've been in contact with already, and
Yes.
we're gonna have them here, by the way. But one of them has been 6 years without symptoms. Uh, I'm not gonna mention her name, but they told me they've talked to you.
Yes.
And the other one, I don't know how long she's been, but she just sent her a message today. She answered. She's going to be doing also uh, this hour with us.
Yeah.
But multiple sclerosis for for many years without medication,
Wow.
and symptoms, no symptoms. One of the ones, she told me that she had symptoms for 2 months. Then she went on the carnivore diet and has not had a symptom now since 2019, I believe.
That is just so amazing. So tomorrow, it's not live, but I'll be interviewing, if people know Rebecca Johnson. She is from Astoria, Spain, and she is a woman who has healed her symptoms of multiple sclerosis as well. And I'm interviewing her tomorrow. It should be up on my channel probably by the end of this week. And it's just so amazing. Like, I feel like she and I have this such a close um, story, and we do. It was like the same year almost she was diagnosed, and she was also going to school and getting her doctorate in literature. So she was in school at the time. So we have all these moments of like, wow, me too. And she interviewed me for her channel. It's called Cabana Chronicles. Cabana Chronicles. And so she interviewed me on there. And so I'm interviewing her. So that's the other wonderful thing about this community, Dr. Nelson, is that we all are so supportive of each other. I interviewed you, then you wanted to interview me. And we just are so interested in getting the word out there that and I think that's where all the support comes, because it's so opposite of everything that we were taught from day one, from, a little girl, eat your vegetables and don't eat that fat. That's bad. Like all these things that we were told. And now by doing that, and, I just have to say, I was not on the standard American diet. I was always a healthy eater. I was an aerobic instructor, a personal trainer, always into fitness. What I did do was, I don't know if I can call it the SADD diet, SAD diet, the standard American dieter's diet, where I ate low fat and I ate higher carbohydrate. That's where I got my fuel from, was the carbohydrates. Until pretty recently, like over the past maybe 10 years, I've been going keto mostly.
So, to our listeners here, thank you for being here. But if you're here, you're very likely familiar with a high fat diet.
Yeah.
Dr. Kiltz talks about that. And it is true, a low carbohydrate, high fat diet. Uh, a low fat diet seems to be deadly. And when you're talking about carbohydrates, well, where did these carbohydrates come from? Well,
Plants.
they were all plants.
They're all plants.
And you were eating a healthy diet, yet you've encountered these diseases, and
Yes.
now the symptoms have reversed by eliminating them. Maybe there's something to it, and
There
hopefully
might be.
so many anecdotes. And we're starting to have a few short-term studies. By the way, a low carbohydrate diet might be one of the most studied diets,
Yeah.
but the result of those studies does not result in a new drug to sell. So it's not pushed by the food or pharmaceutical industry as much as other things. And I don't want to get into conspiracy theories here, but if there isn't a drug to sell, then pharmaceutical companies don't pay attention to those studies.
And they can't do a commercial on it. So,
Yeah. What are they going to tell you?
I
They're
can't
gonna-
stand the commercials. They can't do a commercial. They can't do a study. It's almost like, really? So, do we have this like Ozempic deficiency that we need Ozempic? Do we have this, all these medications that they act as if we should be having them? Is there a statin deficiency that I don't know about? It's like, why? We survived for how many years? How many millions of years did man survive without one single pill? Right? I'm sure it wasn't a wonderful life. I mean, I'm sure it was what it was. I don't want to sleep in a cave. I love my Tempur-Pedic bed. I would not want to sleep on the floor, right? I love modern life. But there's a lot about modern life that, like, I want to do without. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
It's just kind of understood that people inherently have these deficiencies of medication that we should be eating, even Tylenol, even ibuprofen. And I know people are in pain and they want to take these things, but I'm at the point where I'm like, all right, I have a headache. Let's see. Should I drink some water? Should I go out in the sun? Should I, like, I do like this. And then I forget about it, and it's like, okay, so I have a headache. It's not killing me. People don't want to feel discomfort. And I think, Dr. Nelson, that's why people are eating all this stuff, because they have a craving for it and they don't want to sit with the craving. I was the same. I did that. Wow, I have this craving for XYZ, whatever the substance is. I must eat it. No, you don't have to eat it.
How many times a day do you eat?
Did I eat? 6 at least.
And
Before.
now,
Now 2 or 3. Today is my fasting day. I fast on Tuesdays. I've been starting that, listening to Dr. Annette Bosworth on doing a reset on blood sugar and boosting the ketones. And I've been measuring my blood sugar. And I know Dr. Kiltz isn't like keen on all the numbers, but it really did help me to get my baseline um, blood glucose to lower and my ketones to boost. Because what I found was a very sad thing. After a year on carnivore, my blood sugar started going up and my ketones started going down because I think my body is just so efficient at making glucose that it was doing it all by itself. So I had to, the fatigue started coming on, Dr. Nelson, just like low level. And I felt it because I had been feeling so good for a year. I felt it. And lo and behold, I tested it. I bought one of those little devices and I tested it. And sure enough, um, I was not in ketosis after a year. So I had to do some troubleshooting, just low level troubleshoot. So nothing that I would recommend that anyone does at the beginning. At the beginning, when you want to follow the carnivore diet, eat fatty red meat until you are full. Period. Amen. After following,
and then don't eat it again until what?
till you're hungry.
Yeah,
Don't
very
eat if you're
simple.
not hungry, right? Don't eat if you're not hungry. When you feel like you want to eat something, even if, all right, say your family's eating dinner and you're not really hungry, have a little bit, but have meat. You know, if you feel like having a piece of bacon, have a piece of bacon. Have a little bit of meat. Maybe not eat a full meal if you're not feeling like you want a full meal, right? But you have to you have to really, you have to be your own experiment, your N equals one. You've got to test it for yourself. If you're not sure if your blood sugar is up, test it. If you're not sure if your ketones are up, test them, right? We have this ability, we have this technology to be able to test it.
I
So,
I test myself occasionally. I am all for the simple, no testing
right.
necessary. But if you want to test, you can test. And this morning, for the first time in a long time, I think my ketones were 1.9.
That's awesome.
Uh, we are all in this together.
We
Uh,
are.
and well, we're coming to the end of the hour. Uh,
Already? Oh my goodness.
yeah, it's
Wow. Time
and
flies.
so, but this is, I mean, to me, it continues to be an amazing story. Not only having people reversing diabetes or helping with the cancers, reversing brain disorders, and I now put everything brain related together because it does seem to all improve, whether your manifestation is anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar illness, personality disorders, schizophrenia. I mean, we had a few weeks ago in our Kills Mighty Tribe Zoom call. We had Valerie Smith. She was hearing voices from the age of 8.
Yeah.
Saw her again in MeatUp, and she's gonna be, I don't know, in a couple of months she'll be here again. But it is just almost incredible. I keep hearing it, so now I am not. I do believe it, but
Right.
it continues to be amazing
Right.
because you wouldn't think serious mental disorders would respond to a low carbohydrate, high fat diet, carnivore diet, and definitely people improving multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's. Listen, sometimes we cannot get rid of those things because once they are there, they are there, and maybe we can push it back a little bit. And if it buys you years of health, that's all we can ask. And
Right.
if it goes away completely, you're not going to be complaining about it, right?
No,
But
absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah,
so what
it's
would you say to someone who's watching this and is undecided about giving this a try, this way of
yeah.
eating?
No, I get it because I developed this 5 steps to carnivore mindset. So our minds get in our way, and when we hear about the carnivore diet, like I did, so I know this happened to me. The thought is carnivore is crazy. You know, no, it's against everything I've ever learned about. About eating. Carnivore is crazy. So you might sit in that mindset a week, 2 weeks, and you might stay there forever. You might not watch any YouTube channels, read any books, listen to anybody. Carnivore's crazy. The end. If you kind of stay there for a minute, you might notice that someone is healing from symptoms of their multiple sclerosis, that they are healing from diabetes, that they are not depressed, not anxious. You might watch a YouTube video or two and hear about these doctors that are promoting this. So now you're in what I call the second step, and that is the spinning circle. So you spin this way and you go, carnivore is crazy. Then you spin this way and you say, oh, maybe it's not crazy. Maybe I could try it. And nah, I'll go back to carnivore is crazy again. Well, then I would suggest you move to the third step, which is carnivore prep. You have to prepare. You have to learn about this thing. You have to learn, how are you going to follow this? Why are you going to follow this? When are you going to follow this? How are you going to prepare your food? What are you going to eat? So it's all preparing. When I go to that wedding in July, what am I going to eat? So all these things come up. Do I drink alcohol? Do I drink coffee? What do I do? Carnivore prep. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Step 3. Then move to step 4, which is the fun part. This is when you get to try. This is the challenge. This is when you get to try it for 30 days at least. If you try it for 2 weeks, not good enough. If you kind of try it, where you kind of eat more meat than usual, but then still have your other stuff that you usually have, that's not what I ask. When I say challenge, I mean eat only meat. Even if you can, cut out the cheese, please. Don't eat cheese. Don't eat anything else except meat. Give it a try. It's not going to kill you in 30 days. You're still going to be who you are. It's not going to hurt you. Just do it. Because if you don't do it, you're not going to know. If you kind of do it, it's not going to work. Just do the thing, follow it 30 days, and see what happens, right? So that's number 4. Then, after 6 months to a year, it's your way of eating. That's when you become a carnivore. You're not doing the carnivore diet anymore. You are a carnivore because you only eat fatty red meat and a little chicken and a little fish, if that's what you choose. But you're not, if you're thinking of trying it, just try it. You're not going to know if your rheumatoid arthritis heals, if your multiple sclerosis heals, if your type 2 diabetes heals. You're not going to know by listening to me. You're not going to know by listening to Dr. Nelson. The only way that you are going to know is by doing the damn diet. So just do it. That's what I would say, Dr. Nelson.
So, and you have, by the way, videos on each one of those steps, because I did look
Yeah.
at your YouTube page. Where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube, Boston Carnivore Diane Ladd.
All right. So
I'm not on the others yet. I will
Boston.
be eventually, but
Well,
right.
that's good. Boston Carnivore Diane Ladd.
That's right.
And actually, if you just put Boston Carnivore, she's gonna be the first one to pop up.
Woo! I didn't know that because there is another
Yeah,
Boston
yeah,
Carnivore
yeah.
too.
So she has a few videos there. She's working on more. Just keep spreading the word. And if you have a story of healing, start your channel. You just need a phone or your computer. It's simple. You don't have to do a big production.
No.
Just start telling people, because you may find someone that you can help.
And
And
I'm gonna double that, because if you have a story to tell and you don't want to start your channel yet, send me a message. You could be on my channel. You can tell your story on my channel, because we all need to do this. This is a grassroots effort. No doctor, no politician, nobody above us is going to tell us to do this thing. This is up to us. If we want people to heal, if we want ourselves to heal, we've got to use our voices. Our voices are very, very valuable. Your voice is very, very valuable. So if you want to tell your story on my channel, send me a message. I will have you.
all right. Thank you very much, Diane. Thank you,
Thank
everybody, for
you.
being
Thank you, Dr.
here.
Nelson.
And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m.
If you're brave enough.
And we'll be there live. And on Thursday at 6 a.m. again, and at 3 p.m., we have a bunch of people lined up, stories of healing. And thank you for being here. You have a good day.
And thank you, Dr. Nelson, for doing what you're doing. I appreciate you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate you. You're doing a
Thank
great
you.
job.
All right. You have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.